Our WTF neoliberal segment. The holidays might not be so happy for millions of Americans that potentially face being booted off Medicaid. The stakes are high for children and families that depend on these services, on these benefits. It was revealed on Monday that Democrats are preparing to join with Republicans. Underline it, bold it, exclamation point. See, Ray, it really bothers me because these folks who want to continue to be super partisans don't understand, put that back up, understand that Democrats are helping to make some of this foolishness and mayhem, quote one of my good friends, happen. It's not just Republicans, it's the corporatists of both parties. But I digress. Jessica, thank you for this wonderful article coming from Common Dreams. Democrats are preparing to join with Republicans who have demanded an end to Medicaid policies enacted because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Listen, folks, and listen, elected geniuses, with all types of sarcasm. Do I call you a genius? The pandemic is not over. We might be done with the pandemic, but the pandemic is not done with us. And so people who are suffering during this pandemic will not be ready at a artificial timeline, deadline given by you geniuses. Why would you want to strip these programs, this program from people in need? You're heartless and you're immoral and you far from geniuses. So I use that word very sarcastically. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office expects the PHE to expire next January. Lawmakers have struck an agreement to move the end of its Medicaid rules up to April 1, which would allow states to begin removing people from the rolls who no longer qualify, usually because their incomes have increased. Increased by how much? Because all of the data out there is very clear. Top economists have made it very clear that the pay of the average worker is not keeping up with the rate of inflation. So Ray, go ahead, have at this. I'm done with these fools, really.
I just think it's exceptionally shameful to be doing this right after they were running these, key Senate campaigns where they had their candidates saying you have to elect Democrats or Republicans are going to take away your Medicaid or Medicare, your Social Security. They ran on that heavily. That was part, and he's not in office yet, but that was a heavy part of John Fetterman's campaign. That was a heavy part of Raphael Warnock's campaign, pointing at their opponents and saying they are going to strip you of these benefits. And now, it's not those candidates specifically, but it's the Democratic Party, the corporatists in the party that are teaming up with Republicans to actually accomplish that goal. So it really, really goes against what they were, having their candidates run on. But it also goes, it goes against the idea that voters need to vote Democrat to protect their interests in these benefits programs, because if they're just going to team up with the Republicans as soon as they get Democrats into office to strip them anyway, why should a voter go to the polls and vote Democrat, because the Republicans are going to take away their benefits when the Democrats are going to do it either way? It's embarrassing, it's shameful, and it should not happen.
There it is, Ray, and they wonder why people are cynical. They wonder why people have lost trust in these institutions because these folks lie. It reminds me of when they said, vote for us and you're gonna get the next check. And then what turns out, they cut the check. They say, oh, you're gonna get $2,000. Then all of a sudden they started adding up other stuff. And the math was not mathing, to quote Andrew Yang. I mean, it really does not make any sense. They are acting just like the Republicans. And really, the corporatists of both wings of the party are the same. We say this over and over again at Unbossed. There is very little daylight, if any. I will say there's no daylight, relatively no daylight between the corporatists of both parties. So let us remind you that since the start of the pandemic, Medicaid, the federal and state program to provide health insurance to low-income Americans, has been far more generous than in the past. Enrollment is higher than ever at 77.8 million people. So almost 78 million people in need. And you know why they in need? And thank you for that, Libby from the Lever. You know why they need? Because we don't have universal health care in the United States of America. Let me remind you for like the millionth time, who's counting? I'm counting. That we are the only industrialized nation on the face of God's green earth that does not have some type of universal health care. Yet we hold ourselves out to be the best democracy in the world. Yeah, the best democracy that money can buy, because owner donors have purchased this democracy. This is the corporate states of America, baby. And that is why we cannot have nice things. So now folks are in danger. Let's put up this tweet from Andrew Perez. 15 million Americans could lose. Let me say that one more good time. 15 million Americans could lose Medicaid coverage when states resume, quote, redeterminations, end quote, including many who are eligible, giving states extra cash and barring them from trimming their Medicaid rolls has been one of the big successes of COVID policymaking. So why would you do a good thing and take it back? Right, it's the same thing they did with the child tax credit. You take, children out of poverty, about 50%, and then all of a sudden you catapult them all right back where they started from. This is the same thing that is going on with this Medicaid program. A Capitol Hill source close to negotiations stated the following. Let's take a look and a listen at this. We are decoupling the Medicaid continuous eligibility policy from the public health emergency. We are not ending the PHE. We're providing certainty to states and giving them a gradual stream of funding and guardrail requirements that protect people. This is something both Democrats and Republican states asked for so that the 90 million people enrolled in Medicaid can be given certainty and protected during this massive undertaking. Certainty for what? That you guys are heartless as a mofo? Is that the kind of certainty you're trying to give these people? They talking in circles, Ray, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
and let me just say one more thing. I had a mentor, Ray, who used to say, she was a Cleveland City Councilwoman. Her name is Councilwoman Fannie M. Lewis. She's no longer on this plane of existence. Put Ray back up. Ray and I having the conversation. And Ray, she used to say, this is clear as mud. And so I want to quote the great councilwoman from the great city of Cleveland, Fannie M. Lewis, for what the administration just said. What that person just said, Ray, for me, is clear as mud.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And like I said, it's just embarrassing because like you mentioned with the child tax credit, they celebrated that. They celebrated how many children they lifted out of poverty. The Democrats specifically patted themselves on the back for that. And it was a wonderful policy. But then not too long after, they got rid of it. And there was Democratic support to get rid of it. The Democratic Party was okay with repealing it. And it's the same thing that we're seeing here. And they're going to give themselves credit for how great this program has been, how many people were able to get healthcare treatment services that needed it, that otherwise would not have been able to access it because we have a broken healthcare system in this country. And it never should have been like this in the first place. But profits over people. Yeah, profits over people. So here we are. And they'll celebrate the benefits that this gave people while they're stripping those people of those same benefits. It's shameful. And the Democrats, it seems like they never want to win an election ever again with the policies that they're doing, the things they're repealing, and how willing they seem to be working with Republicans to undermine the people who are going to vote for them.
This is sick. And at some point, and this message is to the American people. American people, at some point, we got to stop being complicit in our own demise. At some point, we got to call the roll. At some point, we got to look at people's records, not just what they say when they run in, but what they actually do, and call the question on these folks. Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer did not address the potential provisions while speaking about the package on the chamber floor on Monday. You know why he didn't? Because he know what's about to go down. See, I'm telling you, this is a sickness and it is a shame, and we must stop accepting it. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, a no party, libertarian, whatever you are, we have got to come together as working people in this country and stop allowing these elected officials to whisper sweet nothings in our ears and absolutely do nothing once they get the power in their hands. Some of these folks are just flat out liars, and they knew it when they got there they wasn't gonna do right. And this is Democrats and Republicans. So spare me all it's just the Republicans. The Democrats are still in control right now. And they posseing up with these daggone Republicans. They all the same. Lord, have mercy on my soul. I was trying not to need my fire extinguisher today, but Ray and Sachi and Marissa and Fred and Mark, hey, I need it. Damn it, I need it. I'm gonna need it.